Greetings, loved ones. How are you doing? It's been a while, definitely since I've been visible on the videos. I am here. It is the 9th of September. I always get the 9th of September and the 11th. Wait, no, 11th of September and 9th of September mixed up. I digress. Let's all take a breath in and a breath out. There's roadworks outside. Roadworks ahead. I sure hope there is. Or is that? I sure hope it does. Yeah. My brain's all over the place. I'm going to London in about an hour. I've had to kick the cats out of the room because Olive keeps trying to attack the camera. She's very jealous of it. Very territorial of my eye contact with the camera. But I have so much to catch you up on, and I've already filmed this one time, two times, but then my phone didn't have enough storage for the voice note, so it didn't work, so I have to do this all over again, which is probably a good thing because there have been more updates in my love life. So let's get into it, shall we? I'm going to start with my pit so that we can get that out of the way. I have had some issues with my hormones this month, and I'm not going to lie, babes, it's been a bloody nightmare. Very unstable, teary. I mean, maybe it's grief as well. Maybe it's a whole bunch of things, but I'm blaming it on my hormones so that there's like a fix to it, you know. And I got my shot on Friday, just gone. Let me undo my belt because it's a little tight when I'm trying to be leisurely. I'm gonna try and do this with one hand. Oh, I can breathe again. Yeah, so I was struggling city with my hormones. I was just like crying all the time. I didn't feel good. I was very sensitive, very fragile. And one of my friends came over, and I don't really cry in front of my friends. It's very rare, and when I do, you know, it's like a low point. My friend came over, and I'd been crying in the morning, and I was like, right, pull yourself together. And then they opened the door, they had flowers for me, and I just sobbed when he was like, hi, how are you? And I was like, I'm fine. Started crying. But it was a really nice, like, catch up with friends. Sometimes, you know, you have to kind of get to that point of being quite vulnerable to get to another level of a friendship. I don't know, it just kind of felt like we had unlocked a closer connection. And it was really nice to see him. If I'm totally honest, I think I am really struggling with grief at the moment. Not surprising. It's only been like 3 months since Mum died. I go up and down a lot. I just miss her, you know, like, it's not surprising. These roadworks, I don't know if you can hear it, but it just sounds like a giant bee in the background. Yeah, I just really miss my mum. Like, I don't know how to sugarcoat that or say it any better. I just want to be able to pick up the phone, talk to her, tell her about the mediocre things that are happening in my life. There's not really anyone that can fill that role anymore. And I either have to build it from scratch or just accept that it won't exist ever again. I write to her in my journal, which is helpful, and I give her big updates, and that's nice. But yeah, I won't go on about it for too long. But I got my tattoo, which you might have seen on Instagram. It's poppies for her. It's just, grief is so weird, because I keep thinking like, oh, I should have done this, I should have filmed her voice more. And then part of me is like, oh, well, if I should have done that, I can do it. But then I'm like, no, she's like completely gone forever. So that's fun. Yeah. that's the pit. Let's move on quickly, swiftly. Don't matter. Well, it does matter a lot, but I don't want to bring the vibes down, because lots of good things have been happening recently. And one of those things, it feels very weird to be moving swiftly forward from the passing of my mum to a threesome. But you know what? Life is chaotic, and that's fine. So I put this peek down because I thought it was fun. Yes, I had my first threesome recently, and I don't know why I feel the need to tell you that, but I think we're close here, right? And this is something that I've wanted to do for a while. It's always been one of those things I've been curious about. Olive is jumping up at the door. And I have been offered the position of being someone's third. Usually a couple, two people will be like, hey, you want to join us? And sometimes I'm not super into both of them, or sometimes the timing's not right, or sometimes I'm just not feeling it. But yeah, this was like a series of things that happened, and also partly my friend's idea, so I blame them. But yeah, it was just a bunch of things that happened, and then it was like, oh, this all works out. I'm not going to tell you too much about who the people were, but basically, it was two people that I have slept with before. They didn't know each other, but one of them was going to bring something to my house, and one of them was already at my house. And I said to my friend, like, the person that's bringing something to my house just to drop off, I don't know how to interact with both of them, because I've never been in this situation before where two people I'm actively sleeping with are meeting each other. They also both knew about each other at the time. One person was open with their partner, one person is poly. And so I told my friend, and my friend was like, just invite them both in and see what happens. And I was like, that is, what? Of course not. And then I was like, but also, maybe. So I did exactly that. I said to the person coming round, my friend is over. Would you be open to us all having some fun together? And the person dropping the thing around said, yeah, let's go for it. You know, they were both like, there's no pressure. Let's see what the vibe is when we all hang out. And my thought process was, I was very nervous about group sex because I never really know what my position, my role is going to be. So, can you hear Olive trying to scratch the carpet away? Oh, she is obsessed with me. Babes, you got to wait a minute, okay? Daddy's busy. I was thinking, these are two people that I trust a lot. They have always treated me with respect. They know what to do with my body. They know how to read me, and we communicate really well. And I just thought, like, it would probably be a very nice introduction into group fun. So, yeah, they had both had experience with threesomes before. And so I was kind of going into this like, can you both lead the way and teach me how it kind of works? Because I have no idea what I'm doing. One of these people is a friend, and one of these people I am seeing on like a romantic level. So that was a difference in dynamic as well. But this person came upstairs, and we watched Black Mirror for a little bit, and it was so, like, they said I was so red, like the most red they have ever seen me before. And it was like I had a line of pink across my face, like in cartoons. And I was just sitting there, and I was like, guys, I don't know how to do this. And I was like, but if you're both down, like, can you start? Can you, like, get the ball rolling? Because I don't know how to do this. And so I was sitting in the middle of these two gorgeous guys, and I'm just melting thinking about it. We start on the sofa, there's lots of touching, some kissing between me and one person, me and the other person. The two guys don't really interact much, and they were both kind of like, this is all about you. You are, like, don't have to worry about anything, just lay back and we will do the rest. And I was like, I made a great decision that day. So we then went into the bedroom, and I lay back, and there were lots of, like, different positions. How much detail do I want to go into? It was just really good, okay? It was really, really good. They both spent a lot of attention on me, and I just... And I thought I would be a little bit jealous if they interacted together without me and, like, made out or touched each other. And I was lying down at one point, and they were both making out on top of me, and I was like, oh my God! Like, the 12-year-old in me searching up boys kissing online in secret was like, I was like, oh my God, this is a dream. I didn't feel any type of bad way. And then, guys, my favourite part... Do I say this? Is this... I'm just worried about if I have a job in the future and they're like, find this podcast. But also... I made a comic about it, and I'm going to post it. But the best part... was okay, there was one part where I was making out with my romantic friend on top, and he was underneath, and then our friend was behind, just like playing with us both, and I was just like, oh my God. And then at some point they both went in one hole, and I was like, oh, is that what I think it is? And they were like, yep. And I was like, wow. First of all, I didn't know I could do that. Second of all, that's really fucking hot. Like, what the fuck? So it was a really, really good night and a really good first experience. I think we were all kind of a bit nervous about how the other people were feeling. So it wasn't like, no explosive endings, if you know what I mean. But it was like a really fun introduction into things. And I'm also trying to unlearn this idea that sex needs to be about coming. Which is interesting for me because I think with dysphoria and body issues, it can sometimes be the goal so that I don't have to deal with the complex feelings. And sometimes I've used sex as like I've got arousal, I feel a certain type of way, I want to just finish so that it's done and over with. Whereas now I'm really learning to enjoy the sensations and the roles and exploring. And so that feels really good as well. Moving on. Moving swiftly forward. So let me tell you about an update in my dating life. You know, I broke up with my ex-partner mid-June. And I'm not really going to go into that because I don't need to. But I met someone. Also, me and my ex were open and poly. There were no, rules, really. We kind of just, have whatever relationships you want outside of us. So I got talking to this guy, and we talked on Grindr, and then we ended up bumping into each other at the clubs. I made a cute video about a top I made with the heart cut out, and I wore that on the day that we met. Me and this guy, we bump into each other at a club. I am fairly drunk, so is he. And he texted me and he's like, I think I saw you at this bar. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm here with my friend. And so I'm kind of keeping an eye out for him again. And then I see him and I'm like, hey. And he sees me and he's like, hey, can I get a kiss? And I was like, yes, you may. And so we kiss, and then I go back to the dance floor with my friend, and basically we spend a long time making out with each other on the dance floor. And it was so good. So good. And my friend is making out with someone else on the dance floor, but they keep tapping me and they're like, are you good? You've been attached to each other for a while. And I'm like, I'm good, babes, don't worry about me, you just go back to your friend. I'm gonna be here. So my friend's making out with someone, I'm making out with this guy, and then I'm like, you should come home with me. And he's like, I have to dog sit someone, I have to go home. And I'm like, oh, fine, that's fine, have boundaries. And then he comes over the next day and we hook up, and it is great, really good. And then we hook up again a couple of weeks later, maybe the next week. And then I go to Greece, and I'm trying out this new thing where I'm not chasing people, and I'm like, I really like this guy, but I'm not going to message him until he messages me, because I want to make sure that he is going to make an effort and he likes me. While I'm in Greece, he's like, hey, how's Greece going? When are you back? And we plan to meet up. Every time we've met, we've planned another meeting. So, he was like, are you still up for meeting when you get back? And I'm like, yes, really looking forward to it. And by this point, I had planned to ask him on a date during our third hookup, which is bold of me because I was just really nervous that he wouldn't be up for it. Anyway, we hook up again, and I say, hey, what's your thoughts on going on a date? And he's like, ooh, that sounds like it could be cute, but I'm not sure if I'm looking for anything serious right now. I'm like, that's cool, we can just date to do fun things together because we've got a lot in common. I like you. We don't have to date to be in a relationship. Famous last words. Oh my God. But this can just be really chill. I'm such a cool chill girl. And he's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we plan to have a date. We meet up at 10 a.m. and the date ends at 5 p.m. because he has to go somewhere. And we're both like, this has been a really nice date. And he tells his friend that it's one of the best dates he's ever been on. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. I'm good company. And also, he's really cute. And, we went to his. We got coffee, went to the nude beach, sat on the nude beach for ages. We went swimming in the sea. Then we got pastries, had them at his, then stayed at his for a little while. And it was just so cute. And then we went on another date, and he was like, I'm already looking forward to seeing you again. Oh, my heart, babes, my heart. Our next date, we watch a movie. Well, we tried to watch a movie, but we talk a lot, and it's really cute. And then we make like a playlist on Spotify, and it just merges our songs together. We don't actually like add songs to it. And then our next date, there's been quite a few, so I'm losing track of them a bit. We eventually make another playlist, and where we add songs to it. And guys, it becomes really gay really quickly, and it's very like teenage crush vibes. Anyway, it's been a couple months, and things have continued to go really great. And yeah, I don't know how much more I want to say, but I don't think it's just dating for fun anymore. And I am looking forward to where it goes in the future. I need to tell you something really embarrassing now. So he came over to mine like a week and a half ago. We plan to take edibles. I have one too many, and we're having a great night. And then I start feeling it, the one too many. And I look at him and I'm like, is this more than just sex to you? And he's like, yeah, it is. And he's like, is that okay? And I take a moment and I'm like, oh, Olive is trying to clamber at the door. Oh my God, she's like opening the handle. She's so smart. I say to him, this has nothing to do with what you've just said, but I need to go and be sick. So I'm like, I take myself off to the bathroom. I'm like, put your headphones in, entertain yourself for about half an hour. Do not come into the bathroom. I won't go into too much detail. I wasn't sick. But when I am, it's violent, it's loud, it's not sexy. And I'm still trying to impress this guy. I've just had way too much weed, and I'm sitting curled over, feeling sorry for myself, unable to move. And eventually I'm like, do you think you can come and bring a wet flannel and put it on the back of my neck? And he does. It's like, is there anything else I can do? Being so sweet. And I'm like, not right now, but come back in maybe 10 minutes. And then he just sits with me, and while I come back round to being like sobering up a bit, and then I'm just like beating myself up because I'm like, why the fuck did I think I could handle that? Thankfully he said this is the last edible we should do because you're gonna feel it. Thank God. But yeah, then the next day I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, we should revisit the conversation that we just had about this not being just sex anymore and do that sober so I'm not running off to be sick. And he thought it was really funny. He was like, it's actually really cute and I wanted to just look after you and stuff. And then I was like, so maybe this guy likes me a little more than I thought. And then he comes over again for a sleepover. And, actually the next day he's like, getting ready to take his stuff, and then I take him his toothbrush, and I'm like, oh, don't forget your toothbrush. And he's like, actually, I was thinking it might be a good idea for me to leave it here. And I'm like, oh, that's really cute. Okay. So he leaves his toothbrush here, and oh, guys, I'm just smitten. I'm really, really smitten. And he comes over for another sleepover, and we just stay out for hours talking. We play video games. We get a takeaway. We're chatting. We go for breakfast. He takes me to my injection. And it's just like, this guy is dreamy. Dreamy McDreamison. And he's so attractive. He's so kind, so gentle, thoughtful. I'm just like, where have you been? Where has this guy come from? Because it's better than I hoped for. So I just have a lot of feelings. And I wish everybody could be happy. So yeah, it's no longer just a hooking up situation. And we had a very intimate night last night, where some things were said. I won't go into too much detail. Yeah, I am smitten. Okay, woken up this morning feeling absolutely wonderful. I could bounce out of bed, and I did. I put on my cute little outfit. I'm going into London. I'm also just like extremely proud of how I have handled this situation, because I am an anxious attached girly. I have so many issues with abandonment. I could go on and on about all things that have happened. And the more I've been reading into anxious attachment and the Anxious Person's Guide to Polyamory, I am just like, it's no wonder that I am so scared of commitment and relationships and abandonment. I have been doing so much work to undo all of these things, and I have come from a series of situations, connections, relationships, whatever you want to call them, where I have just been not really, I don't know what the word is. I think the intention of the other people has been good, but I haven't been given myself what I needed, and I haven't really been given it by other people either. Listen, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I need a hopeless romantic to join me in this quest. And I have done a lot of work to not chase people and trust that they're going to come back to me, and it's proven that it works. And I have done a lot of boundary making. I say things like, we're not going to text every day. We're not going to text, well, did say, let's not text before work, because then I get distracted, and I have been doing that a little bit. Sorry, a girl has flaws, okay? But my point is, I'm not letting myself get carried away just because I want some fairy tale security thing, thinking that the more I give someone, the more I'm going to get. Instead, I am being really intentional about what I want, and, taking things slow, and having boundaries now for long-term positive change. So, yes, very, 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 very proud of myself. So, well done, Ocean. He. Let's get on to the final part of this podcast, which is advice from myself to you. I got a question. I opened up the questions box, which will be linked down below, and you can ask me anything, and you can ask me as much or as little, like in as much detail or as little as you want. And I'm going to give you my advice as a non-professional human being. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, this person says, Ocean, I need advice about a friend of mine. They're amazing, but they often make little jokes about my transition that cross the line. I laugh it off, but afterwards I feel hurt. I don't want to lose the friendship, but I also don't want to keep pretending it doesn't bother me. How do you set boundaries with friends without making everything awkward? Okay, I'm talking to you as a people pleaser, someone who has definitely been in this position before. I'm going to tell you about an experience I had that was maybe not the right way to do it, because maybe that I think we learn more from the mistakes we make than the things we get right. So I had a friend one time. I went to see her abroad and we spent 4 days together, and I thought she was a really cool person to be around. I was out as trans. She knew me from before I was trans, blah, blah, blah. I went to stay with her, and I noticed a few times during our stay that she had mentioned some things that didn't really sit right with me. They were kind of just a little bit ignorant of the trans experience, and I bottled it up the whole time because I didn't want to make the stay weird or confusing. We were sleeping in the same room. I was relying on her for accommodation. I was staying in Holland for a couple days. So I think my best solution is to come home, write a big list of all the things that she did wrong, and send it to her. And I try and be gentle. I'm like, hey, there are a few things that you said while I was there that didn't really feel good. And looking back now, it was probably came across as very much of an attack on her personality. And she responds by saying, fuck you chicken strips. No, she's like, fuck you, how dare you, you should be lucky that someone like me even considers you a friend, or yeah, it was just very mean, and I get she felt attacked, and it was probably out of the blue because she thought we had a nice time because I didn't say anything, and she's just like, what the fuck is going on this day right now? And I'm just really hurt by her response, because I'm like, why is it some kind of why is she acted like I am someone that should be grateful to have any friends? That was weird. And another maybe a bit anti-trans thing, the way she put it. So we had a bit of an argument, and I was like, I don't want to be friends with someone that is going to say those things to me. So yeah, this is really not nice. Anyway, we didn't talk after that, and we haven't spoken since, and that was maybe 2019, 2017, maybe. So maybe around 10 years ago. And that was difficult, but it did teach me a lot about how to bring up conflict in relationships. And one thing I will say, which maybe doesn't apply here, is that it is so much easier to have boundaries from the beginning of relationships than it is to implement them midway through. Because if you are someone who has never had boundaries before and then you implement them, it can kind of feel like to the other person that they've done something wrong, which means you need boundaries. But I know for myself, a lot of the time I don't hold boundaries because I feel like a child who doesn't deserve them. Saying that, every time I put boundaries in place, I feel like an adult who does deserve them. So it's a bit of a vicious cycle where you're like, oh, I don't feel like I can put this boundary in place because then I'm inconveniencing other people and I'm a bit of a burden. But then when you have boundaries and someone accepts them and supports you with them, then you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And also I feel like I have agency over my own life a bit. I made a goal about 2 years ago to have more boundaries in place and call friends out, but in a really gentle way. So I remember 2 instances with friends. This is very different, but like I had heard some things that could maybe be taken differently depending on the context. So really my goal was to figure out what they meant by the comments that they made so that I could understand it and we could move past it. So what I did was I had a chat with them in person. I didn't want to do it over text because I know that tone can be changed. And I pre-warned them and I was like, hey, can we talk about something that's been on my mind a little bit? I'm maybe overthinking. I may be not fully understanding where you're coming from, but I think it would be good to have a conversation about how this has felt and understand where you're coming from. And then they've been like, yep, let's talk about it. I'm prepared for this conversation. And then I said, like, when you mentioned this, it made me feel this way, and I don't know if that was your intention, but can you just let me know what you meant by it? Or can I explain why that didn't feel good to hear? And I think when you're a people pleaser, or if you've had boundaries in the past where you've been shut down or told not to have boundaries, or just had your boundaries crossed and ignored, it can be really hard to believe that you are allowed boundaries again. So opening up a conversation to have it be both ways can be really helpful. In my experience, I found it a lot more beneficial to go in as a bit of like just like really giving them the benefit of the doubt and being like, I know you might not have meant it this way, I know you might not have known this is what it meant, but this is how I feel, this is what it means, and this is how it affected me. And if this friend, I know this is such an annoying thing to hear, but if this friend is worth keeping around, they will be responsive to your boundaries and your feelings, because I, as a friend, wouldn't want to be saying things that are hurting my friend's feelings. So if I was told by someone, please don't say that because that's transphobic or homophobic or any other prejudice, then I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, of course, I won't say that. Thanks for educating me. And that would be it. But I totally get that friendships, especially long friendships or friendships that have been built through vulnerable times, it can be really hard to bring up difficult things because you want to preserve the friendship. But I've also found that my friendships have often gotten closer once I have opened up about the difficult stuff and moved forwards, because I'm like, oh, we can talk about hard stuff. We can talk about how we're feeling and it's not going to crumble apart and it's not going to ruin the friendship. And it's like, this person has respect for me and my wishes and my boundaries and my feelings. I have respect for them too. And we want to grow together as friends. And that feels really special as well. So I think what I would do, the short story of it, is open up a conversation about when you can have this chat. Be really gentle, kind of gentle parent if you need to, at least for the beginning, and then go into it as a way to understand the other person's point of view rather than going in with your set perspective and hoping that they change. So even if it's like blatant transphobia, maybe they're joking about your old name or using the wrong pronouns. There could be so many reasons why someone does that without thinking, and I'm not saying that it would make it right, but it might not come from a place of transphobia. They might use she for a guy, for example, if they're trying to include them in with their gay friends and gay culture where everyone calls each other she. Or they might be joking about an old name, thinking it makes it easier to hear, and maybe they just think you've got that sort of humour because some other trans people that they've seen have that humour. So there is so many reasons why people do the things that they do, and it doesn't always come down to maliciousness. And so it's important to have an open mind about that, but also know that you are allowed to not like what people are doing and ask them not to do it if it's hurting your feelings. I hope that helps. Long-winded. Sorry, or you're welcome. And again, if anyone has any other questions or advice that they'd like to ask me about, feel free. I love having chats like this. I think it helps like connect us, and also it's just nice to have a little chat, and I don't know, I like feeling important, I guess. Not that I'm an expert in anything, but I think I've people, yeah, I've known people, I know people, I do things, but yeah, I'm gonna head off because I need to get a train to London, but I will catch you in the next episode, and I will see you around. I hope you're having a great day, a great week, and a great month, and a great everything. And I'll see you soon. Okay? Bye. Love ya.